And with that, we say goodbye to Marsha Thomason on our collective favorite show, Las Vegas. Her portrayal as Nessa was outstanding, amazing. As I mentioned, she was one of my favorite queens of the Montecito, and for a good reason. That was Marsha Thomason's performance, her mannerisms, her humor, the times that it seemed like she was almost breaking on screen. She was incredible to watch in that role. We can go through her credits. Obviously, the first thing she got a credited part in was she played Wendy in Screenplay, which is a TV series in 1993. Some of these may be British. Matter of fact, most of these are probably British. The first thing a lot of people probably saw her in America, she was in Where the Heart Is in 1998 for 20 episodes as Jackie Richards, but where a lot of Americans saw her in was Black Knight in 2001, which wasn't the greatest movie of all time, but she was good in it. She was really good in it. She then does The Haunted Mansion in 2003 with Eddie Murphy. She was also in My Baby's Daddy, which is weird because I saw that movie. I don't know why I saw that. I think I had nothing else to do that day. This was back in the days when you could go see a movie and had nothing else to do. And I saw My Baby's Daddy. It was not great. I don't even remember her in it. But she was in it in 2004. She did these episodes of Las Vegas, 47 of them, as our beloved Nessa Holt. Right after that, she goes on to do The Package as Melissa, which is short. Caffeine as Rachel. She was in the TV show Life as Jill Abraham for an episode. She was in 12 episodes of Lost, where a lot of Americans really, really got to know her, at least on TV. She then goes on to do 4 episodes of General Hospital. Yes, go back and visit Nikki and Vanessa Flores. She played Jillian Carlisle for 4 episodes on General Hospital. How about that? Full circle, don't you know? She then comes back and does 69
Nice.
episodes of White Collar on the USA Network as Diana Berrigan, where a lot of other people probably really recognize her from. She does 8 episodes of NCIS Los Angeles as Nicole Champs. She then goes on to do 4 episodes of Magpie, the new Magpie, yes, as Eve. She starred in that for 4 episodes in 2021. The latest thing you can see her in is The Bay, 18 episodes of that from 2022 to 2024. She's got something, The Extraordinary Farewell, as Claire Samuels in pre-production right now. An Extraordinary Farewell to Marsha Thomason. I did like how the episode centered around her a lot, since this is her swan song and we got to see her go through her emotions and her paces. I do wish we had spent more time exploring her Mike's relationship, even if it was in a couple of episodes. But in the background, the story of Nessa felt good. And I always said, especially early on, that this show had a problem with highlighting Nessa Holt and Marsha Thomason well. Of all the characters that very often didn't get screen time to play, it was generally Marsha, it was generally maybe James, and it was generally maybe Delinda. We spent a lot of time with Danny. Mary, there were a couple episodes where Mary didn't appear very often either. We spent a lot of time with Danny, we spent a lot of time with James Caan, obviously, you have to, and you spent a lot of time with Sam. Those 3 got a lot more camera time than some of them. They usually weren't rotated out of the story as much as the other cast members were, and Nessa's omission a lot of times was a bit more highlighted to me. I kind of noticed that she wasn't on screen, and it's like, well, because a lot of it is because I did come into it when I came into it, so I kind of knew that we weren't going to have Marsha on the show for that long. But it was still kind of like, well, and I could kind of see how things might have, how she may not have come back to the show. I do remember hearing that she kind of voluntarily decided not to come back on the show, and it kind of makes sense from a couple of different reasons. I had also heard that the schedule of doing 22 to 24 episodes a season was a lot for her to handle, and she didn't want to do all that, etc. The BBC, you only had to do like 8 to 10. It was more like TV shows now where you have like 10 episodes in the season and you're done. In the BBC, that's kind of how it was, and that's what she was more used to. So the grind, she wasn't used to that. She didn't like doing that, etc. And that's one of the reasons why she stepped away. I think part of it might have also been, and I hadn't heard this, but I'm kind of assuming she might have noticed how little camera time she was getting versus some of the other cast members, how they finally was managed to get James Lejour more involved in the show. And with James, it makes more sense because they kind of already relegated him to the outside of the casino, so it's hard to integrate him into a lot of the stories, which is why they brought him in to do security. That made sense. But the screen time was probably an issue. And even though she had done Lost, she did 12 episodes of Lost, I imagine she had more screen time, more prominent screen time on Lost with a bigger cast than she might have even had here in Las Vegas with the smaller cast. So that might have played a part. I don't know. I wish I did know. It would be great to interview and ask her. But Marsha Thomason. I went off many times on this podcast about her talent, how immense her talent was, her beauty, how immense her beauty was and is, talent it was and is, and how a lot of times I wish there was more of it to see, but the amount of it that we did get to see just highlighted how immensely talented Marsha Thomason is, and in these couple of years she was on Las Vegas, how immensely talented she already was at that point. She couldn't take your eyes off her when she was on screen, and so that's one of those hallmarks, and I can see how she could get cast, even though they had to create her character. It was supposed to be the Ice Man and turned her into the Ice Queen because of her presence. And that will definitely, in the next 3 seasons, sorely be missed. However, we are not saying completely goodbye to Nessa Holt on the podcast just yet, because the character will live on in the book, High Stakes Game, which we will be exploring very shortly. But as far as the TV show proper, this is the last time we get to see Marsha Thomason. And Nessa Holt, Marsha Thomason, you will be sorely, sorely missed by us here at the Podecito and the fans of Las Vegas.